Hey guys, it's Holly. So happy Mando Monday. Now, a tradition that I've kind of started is to watch The Mandalorian at the exact same time, like release time, every single Friday for me, and it's usually takeaway night as well. So I'll usually get takeaway and I'll sit down and I'll watch The Mandalorian, and it's honestly one of my favorite times of the week. Despite every episode being spoilers, The Mandalorian goes to a planet, talks to this person will help him, but only if they help him slay this monster, and then turns out that person can't actually help him and send it to another planet. Even though the story's been kind of rinse and repeat recently until like the last 2 or maybe even 3 episodes, I've still really enjoyed it. Now, literally in the title, I do say that these are 2 Mandalorian season 2 mocks, so of course, spoilers ahead. I will be spoiling the latest episode, so if you haven't seen that, I suggest not watching the second half of this video until you've done so. Now, we all know that I'm slowly making my way through the Clone Wars and haven't seen Rebels either, and although there is a lot of characters popping up, I do know most of them. I do recognize their names at least, and I still am trying to work my way through that so that I do understand everything a bit better. But while watching The Mandalorian, one of my favorite ships popped up, and one of my favorite Lego sets of the year, the Razor Crest, of course, and there have been some pretty cool adaptations of the Razor Crest. So when I was watching episode 3 of this season, which is chapter 11, I saw this really interesting version of the Razor Crest. Now, it wasn't really that different, and it was basically the Razor Crest after it got pulled up out of the water and was drenched in seaweed. And as someone who went and bought a bunch of seaweed pieces off Pick-a-Brick, I really wanted to test this one out. And there is another Razor Crest mock as well that I did want to try out, so I thought I would kind of create both of them and show you guys in today's video. So the first mock, like I said, is from episode 11, and this is just after the Razor Crest got pulled out of the water and it is completely drenched. Now, I wish I had one of those net pieces to drape along this as well. I feel like that would have just made it that extra bit better, but I really like how this turned out, and it's definitely something I've wanted to do for quite a while, even though it is quite simplistic. It's literally just sticking a bunch of plant pieces onto the Razor Crest itself. I wish I also could have made it look a bit more beaten down, and I feel like I could have probably achieve this by swapping out a lot of the light bluish gray pieces for darker bluish gray pieces to kind of make that a bit better, or even some of those like nougat pieces and dark tan. I think that would have also made it look a bit more beaten down and rusty and things like that, but I unfortunately do not have enough of them, so I just stuck to sticking a bunch of the seaweed pieces and vines for now. I've also stuck some of the olive green like twisty leaf pieces at the top there, and I also mixed up and did put some black seaweed pieces in there too, just to kind of give it a bit more color and create a bit more depth to this, and that's something I love doing with a lot of plant pieces. I've also stuck an olive leaf out the front there using one of those studs, as that's one thing I did try and do, is find a bunch of holes and gaps. So for example, to achieve the ones on the blasters, I did put a blue stud to kind of represent water there, but I did stick some plates to the top where those blaster holes are, and that way I can stick in some vine pieces and I can attach some of the seaweed leaves and kind of just make it hang, and it looks a bit more discreet than it probably would if I was just to shove a giant piece on there or maybe attach it to the outside. So I love the way the blasters look. Same thing goes for the other side. However, for this one, I stuck the seaweed piece directly into that blaster on the top so it could hang down, and did stick another one onto the side. For the very top of the Razor Crest, there wasn't too many open spaces. I felt at the top of the Razor Crest, I felt like there wasn't too many spaces, and or I did not have enough pieces to attach everything, so I have literally just shoved a bunch of the plant pieces into the top, and even into that escape pod I've got some vines sticking out, and it gives it a much more authentic and real feel, I think, because the Razor Crest literally did just get pulled out of the water, so not everything is going to be hanging and draping nicely. A lot of the leaves are probably shoved into a bunch of different spaces. Another thing I did here with this vine is stick it into that stud there, and that way it can point towards the back of the Razor Crest, but the rest of it is mostly just attached on using a bunch of clip pieces or even some vine pieces and things like that. I also do have another blue stud on the front there. I wish I had more of those blue studs so that I could create kind of the water dripping off the left blaster there, but unfortunately I did not, so I just left it bare. On the left hand side as well, I did want to replicate that front blaster being knocked down a bit, so what I have done is I've completely detached the blaster and put a singular stud underneath it, and this thing is very flimsy. It has fallen off quite a few times, but when standing still like this, it does the job, and the entire blaster can rotate down enough so that it looks accurate to the TV show, which I'm really proud of. And then I did also stick a black piece of seaweed up there, although I feel like it's very perpendicular and very angular for what seaweed would actually be like in real life. This would be draping down a lot more, but unfortunately we don't have a seaweed piece that kind of bends up and down like that. But essentially that is the first Razor Crest MOC. It is very simple and very, very easy, but it's something I've really wanted to do ever since I saw the Razor Crest get pulled out, so I'm really glad that I was able to achieve this. Now there was one other Razor Crest MOC which I really wanted to try, but in order to do that and kind of show you guys, I think it's going to be a lot better and more authentic if I take it outside. So the second Razor Crest MOC I wanted to do is from episode 6 of season 2, chapter 14, and that is the exploded version of the Razor Crest. I know, it's such a troll, but I really wanted to do this and just grab a bunch of my grey pieces and literally throw them on the ground. And that's exactly what I did. I just picked a bunch of them out, including like a bunch of gears and Technic pieces and antennas, and there's even a tap in there, a bunch of bricks, all kind of resembling what the Razor Crest is built out of, and I literally put them in a box and threw it onto some dirt in my garden, and that is the Razor Crest MOC done. But honestly, I thought it was really funny and I loved the way it looked and turned out. I took a few photos as well that I will be posting on Instagram later, and I just really enjoyed it. I know it's very simplistic, but honestly it is the most budget friendly Mandalorian and Razor Crest MOC you could probably ever do. And I think especially when I get the Beskar armor Mandalorian from the 2021 sets, if I could recreate this with him instead, I think it would look absolutely incredible. And I'm really glad that I did actually take this outside and put it on the dirt, because I feel like if I just dumped all of these pieces on the table, it would be a lot more underwhelming. However, with it being on the dirt, it makes it look all fancy and fun and cool like that. So yeah, sorry for trolling you, but technically this counts. So happy Mando Monday, everyone. So those were my two Razor Crest MOCs, or really it was more so one MOC and the other me just dumping a bunch of bricks in my garden on some dirt. I'm sorry for trolling you once again, but I thought it would be kind of funny because that's literally the first thought I had when that got blown up was, did I literally waste $180 on this set just for the ship to explode? I mean, they're probably going to give him a new one. At the end of the day, the Razor Crest was literally the Mandalorian's 2004 Honda Civic, so like it wasn't really that fancy or that big of a deal, but I personally really liked this ship, and I guess either way I'm really glad to have this set. But yeah, it was a lot of fun just to do something funny, kind of make a meme out of that episode, because it was very tragic and I am very nervous for Friday's episode. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And until next time, guys, I will see you later.
This is the way.